States' only platinum and palladium mine, and has been the victim of deliberate market manipulation by Russia. Russia's dumping of cheap minerals into the international market forced the Sibanye-Stillwater, the owners of the mine, to scale back its operations and lay off 700 well-paid workers at the end of last year. Obviously, it's had an incredible impact on my district and those counties. So China employs similar manipulative tactics to an even greater degree in order to promote dependence and freeze out competition. So I start with Mr. Fannin. In your testimony, you discuss how China will eagerly manipulate the global critical minerals market by restricting supplies on one hand and dumping them later to kill off growing competition. Can you elaborate on the degree to which global market manipulation is part of China's overall critical mineral strategy?
Yeah, thank you for the question. This is a playbook that they have used and deployed multiple times, really since 2010, when they first banned the export of rare earths. At the time, President Obama initiated a WTO challenge against China. It took years for that case to go through the WTO process. In the interim period, China dumped material onto the market, crashed prices, and sent the one company, rare earth company, into bankruptcy. A few years ago, China, Xi Jinping said he didn't like the way cobalt was being priced, and announced he was going to look into that. The one cobalt mine in the development project in the state of Idaho that was starting to ramp up, the U.S. government was an investor in, announced that they were going into care and maintenance because the prices crashed. It's just the signal that China has, because it's not just that they're the biggest producer, it's also important to recognize they're also the largest purchaser.
Right.
So they're working it on both sides of the ledger, which gives them massive pricing power, and it goes back to this price discovery challenge we have with China.
Thank you. With regard to combating Russian dumping, I introduced the Stop Russian Market Manipulation Act. It's a bill to ban the importation of platinum and palladium from Russia. And I'll go to the whole panel on this one. What steps can Congress take in order to combat similar efforts by Chinese producers to dominate the international market and crush American competition?
So trade and tariffs are the thing, I think, it's your tool and the tool we have in our great country, basically. Tariffs should be used as an incentive and a protection. Protection, basically, of your building blocks, and we talked about this earlier. The building blocks, we have to have what you're producing in Montana. We have to have that. The free world has to have that. But unless you're protected against the unfair practices of China and countries of concern, whether it be Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, they're never going to have our interest. They're never going to have our view. And with that, you have to protect against them coming in and distorting our markets. That's where the tariffs can be used to protect building blocks.
Thank you. Any further comments? Mr. Fannin?
Yeah, I would just say I would look to, we could shift the presumption. I think Congress already made a pretty important past legislation in the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, which created a presumption that if material, something's being produced in Xinjiang region, it was presumed to be tainted. And it requires Chinese suppliers to disclose where their methods. I think we could apply that thinking into the critical minerals debate. You don't have to do anything, just ask them to start to disclose. U.S. mining companies are remarkably transparent. And they disclose all this stuff all the time in response to governments, in response to the NGO community and other interested stakeholders. Why aren't we asking the Chinese to do the same thing? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fernandez?
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, this is what a monopolist does. It floods the market. It cuts out the competitors. It's not just only in Montana, but in Australian mines have closed. Mines throughout the world have closed because of Chinese oversupply. I think tariffs are a tool. I would caution the overuse of tariffs. If we don't have the minerals in our country to replace those, then it doesn't do us any good. But in the case of minerals that we do have, I think tariffs are one of the tools that we have in our toolbox.
Well, thank you. I've got a lot more, but unfortunately I've run out of time, so Madam Chair, I yield.